Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about how to manifest manifestations that are unreasonable, illogical, improbable, or impossible. These categories of manifestations fill my inbox with questions related to how do you do them? Should we even try to manifest things like this? Or many of the emails, questions that I get either in coaching calls or, like I said, emails themselves are surrounded with topics of, if this manifestation or this desire that I have, this manifestation that I want is filled with, this barrier or this boundary or this problem, or it's been going on for this amount of time, or there are so many things in the way that it just seems like there's no logical way for this to happen, right? If you've ever come across a manifestation like that, if you've ever given up on a manifestation like that, or simply been afraid to do it, or are in the middle of it yourself but wondering, should I even be doing this? This is the video for you. I'm going to start by immediately telling you that it is possible, and I'm going to explain to you why. And it's much simpler to manifest something like that than you may even imagine. Before we begin, before we hop into it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so that you can stay informed. And also, the bell icon has new settings. Make sure you click on that icon and always be notified. Otherwise, you will not be notified for the video. So anyway, into this now. Improbable, implausible, unreasonable, illogical. These are adjectives which describe many manifestations. For me, entering into manifestation, right, there are many topics which seem like it just can't happen. But what's interesting, and I'll throw this out there right off the bat, is that manifesting is illogical itself. It's seemingly impossible. We are taught from a young age until forever that manifestation is nonsense. It's magic, right? If we did not believe that, then the majority of the world would be utilizing it. But unfortunately, because the overwhelming mood or climate of societies of the world are based on science or logic or reason, and it is often believed that anything having to do with mystical or metaphysical, or even simply things having to do with your mind conjuring or creating or modifying this reality are often chalked up to woo-woo or, just nonsense. That was how I was raised. That's what I was taught to believe. Even though I was never deliberately told that, the fact that a lot of teachers or people teaching in general, or books that you read or courses in school, they have an undertone that essentially says that anything related to that is nonsense. But I promise you, if you follow the same techniques and guidelines that I followed, that I figured out, that I tested and experimented on and ultimately derived to give to you, if you do the same thing, you will find that manifestation with anything is absolutely possible. It is not nonsense. And in fact, to not use it would be nonsense. The truth is that all things possible, plausible, illogical, logical, they all come from the exact same place, our mind. So these events, everything that we've ever experienced, are all created by us. And with that said, things that are logical, illogical, anything at all has been created, right? Has been manifested. And ultimately, because of that, all things are possible. So even someone winning the lottery, right, that is something that was manifested. Good things, bad things, things that are indifferent, all of this has been manifested. So think now of the manifestation that you think might be too good to be true. What is it? Does it have to do with money? Does it have to do with romance? Does it have to do with health? Does it have to do with other people? Does it have to do with the spiritual realm? What does it have to do with? And think now of all the possibilities, or I'm sorry, the things that are in the way of this being possible. There are probably many things. There would probably need to be many steps that were stepped in order for this to be fulfilled, right? Many events would have to line up perfectly for this manifestation to be fulfilled. But the thing is manifestation works in a way which is beyond our logical faculty, or it supersedes it, goes beyond it. Since every event is manifested, we live in the manifested world. That means everything within it is manifested. Everything is manifested. And therefore logic and reason are manifested. The events, right? The events which occurred for someone to invent the word probability, meaning someone found a pattern that, these amount of things would happen, the percentage of it happening, the percentage of it not. Those events in and of themselves are manifested. And therefore the term probability, the term logic, the term reason, right? Those words themselves are all based off of manifestations. And so ultimately, we cannot apply the terms logic, reasoning, possible, impossible to manifestations. Ultimately, the point that I'm getting to, right, to make this very simple, is that despite what we think is possible and what is not possible, none of that matters, right? Thoughts are manifested. So ultimately, anything that we want is possible. All we have to do is intervene in this reality by injecting the desire into our imagination as if we've already received it. That will impress our subconscious. Ultimately, what will happen is we will experience that thing. So I'll give you an analogy to make this even more simple. Most people watching this video have played a video game of some sort, right? A video game. I know back when I was younger and I would play Mortal Kombat on Sega. What you would do is you would be playing the game and then you would hit pause and you would put in A, B, A, C, A, B, B. And what that would do is it would put in some type of mode. And then I forget what it was called, but ultimately it was more brutal or something. It was a cheat code where you could do things that you couldn't do before, right? So the analogy is there's a player in the game, right? He's playing, he's fighting. And then all of a sudden, pause is hit, right? So the player's no longer aware of this reality because it's literally on pause. He's not thinking during the pause. It's completely paused. And during that time, a cheat code is plugged into the reality of the game. Unpause, he acts as if he's just acting normally. But all of a sudden, without even realizing it, he has power. And when he does the same moves as he did before, different things happen. He has extra power and he wins more, or whatever the case is. So the analog between this experience and manifesting is that once we close our eyes and imagine the thing that we want, what we're doing is actually stopping reality for a moment, leaving what we think is either possible or impossible, because none of that matters. And once we imagine something and impress it on our subconscious mind, or more specifically, we imagine what we wish to experience, right? That's the same thing as entering a cheat code. We close our eyes, imagine something as if it's already happened, right? We are essentially hacking into our reality at that moment. Once we impress our subconscious by imagining this thing with all the tones of reality and we open our eyes again, this reality is exactly the same. It doesn't matter. We'll still think that we are limited by laws of physics. We'll think we're limited by what science tells us, by what probability and statistics tells us, because ultimately that's what we've been conditioned to do. That's the rules of this world. But we've just gone in and entered the cheat code. So what happens? We continue on in this world. We forget entirely, in most cases, about what we've imagined, or at least that's what we've done most of our manifestations, right? Before we've ever learned how to manifest, this is an aside, we've been manifesting everything anyway. We just didn't know we were doing it. So those imaginal acts we've been performing, the thoughts that we've been impressing in our subconscious mind, they've been creating reality, but we had no idea. or we've forgotten entirely that we had thought the thought that was just created later. So in this case, we close our eyes, we imagine the end, that's entering the cheat code, and we'll continue in our reality, forgetting entirely, at least for moments, that we've imagined that thing. And then ultimately, events will transpire, right, independent of us, meaning they'll happen in this world. We don't even have to be aware of them. It could be people in another country performing actions, right, which lead one thing to the next. There could be hundreds of people performing actions, which ultimately, in the end, will converge in one point. They will come together, right, in perfect orchestration, and we will receive that manifestation. We will experience the event that we've imagined. So, to summarize everything, it doesn't matter what's possible or impossible. These are all concepts that are manifested, meaning you can't limit a manifestation by a manifestation. Logic, reason, these are all human concepts, but it's the God consciousness, our imagination, which is God or Christ. We bring forth an image within our imagination, right? Now we're superseding reality. We're superseding logic and reason. We're just bringing forth an image into the imagination, holding it there. That impresses the subconscious, which then is passed off to infinite awareness or infinite consciousness or infinite power or God, right? The core of our being. Passed on, we can open our eyes now and live life normally. That awareness or God that we've passed that information to is conjuring up events, a master plan with infinite intelligence and infinite power, which controls everyone and everything and passes them thoughts, ideas, impulses, creates events, right? We're still just, in the game. And these things are all happening independent because we've entered that cheat code, and they will all happen perfectly in perfect orchestration, divine orchestration, and converge at one point, which is us receiving that manifestation. This happens with receiving money, people winning lotteries, people being healed miraculously, right? Marrying people, all things. Logic and reason, ignore it entirely because it plays no part in manifesting. Every time you imagine something, you go above logic and reason and possibility, right? There is nothing that can get in the way because whatever you imagine reshuffles reality to allow you to get what you wanted without you having to try. All you have to do is imagine. And that's why logic, reason, probability, none of those things matter. And that's how you manifest anything at all. You deliberately outline a scene, which implies you already have your desire after you've received it. You close your eyes and you imagine it in first-person point of view. You repeat it over and over until you feel saturated with it, adding all the tones of reality. And then you either fall asleep while doing it, which is the number one way to impress your subconscious, or just do it to the point to which you feel that thrill emerge, feeling like you did it properly. And that's how you impress, and that's how you will eventually hack reality to receive your manifestation, anything that you want. So, I hope that was helpful to you. If it was, hit the like button. It will do something to the algorithm to help people to see this video who wouldn't normally see it. Hit the subscribe and bell icon and make sure you click that bell icon and click always receive notifications. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.